Introverted thinking is the dominant function in the case of this INTP GEEK. This introverted thinking, as opposed to extroverted thinking, is if extroverted thinking is a laser sword, and this introverted mode is more like big, fat, blind, deaf, and dumb slug, non-carbon based, methane breathing silicon slug, slowly pulsating telepathic messages around to the other functions. And a big lazy old snail, unproductive, abstract-minded, theoretical, right side brain oriented, and non-linear, messy, associative, you might say, creative actually in its own way, and painfully sluggish. This is ruminating, not you wouldn't call this process a firework or something. It's this endless tumbling, never ending, keeps going on and on and on and on, and in itself rather uninterested in the external world. And here in her bat cave, or this methane marshes, her only company is what's called introverted sensing. And compared to the ENTP, this function is a bit more, just one step higher in this hierarchy, and has some more actual influence upon things. You might perhaps compare her to an old librarian. She's responsible for this old, dusty archives with these ancient books and microfilms. Yeah, microfilms. We all love microfilms, don't we? And perhaps even the one keeping check on the DVD boxes with Star Trek original series and Simpsons, some anime collections. What else? Did I mention this Fantastic Four magazines from the 80s? Fantastic Four going into this negative zone where they fight annihilates and almost become drawn into this center of the negative zone where all positive matter will cease to exist. Yeah, it's to the INTP, this is damn serious business, and I shouldn't be joking about this because, like I said, they are nice people after all. But this is her home, her preferred mode, this bat cave, where she recedes into this these impulses of telepathy from this old slug. And on ground level, we have this extroverted intuition, which perhaps becomes something of a meddler between, because this old slug can communicate in person to the emotional life up there on the surface. They have no mutual language. She's not susceptible to these telepathic impulses, and even if she was, she wouldn't be interested. It's just rubbish. So the meddler is, I would guess, this extroverted intuition, this imagination, and even if this INTP would not agree upon this, this is the very secret of their brilliance, what turns their special intelligence into something extraordinary. This imagination, this brainstorming, and a lot more brilliant than in the case with the ENTP. A lot less brainstorming, but a lot more relevant, because it's never brainstorming for the sake of it. When they get into that state of mind, you know, you've seen it, like Sherlock Holmes with pipe, walking in circles and speaking maybe to himself or maybe to Dr. Watson. Really a bit unclear to them both and to us. But this is when this ideas becomes popping up and like an explosion, the machine gun on automatic fire. And in the case of this INTP, this is already solid, because it has already been handled and processed by this mean old slug, lazy old bitch in the basement, in the bat cave. So these things thrown out of her volcano really have some actual shape. You can tell what's becoming of them. And this intuition, this imagination, which is an extroverted function, becomes like the connection to the objective outside world. And these emotions is the actual source of passion, the driving force, which she will not really admit or acknowledge. But giving her reasons, giving her motivation. Because no matter if you're introverted or extroverted, things are always in relation to something. If it only were a matter of your own, then just you may just go to sleep instead or die, because as soon as you're there, your troubles will be over. You won't be either sad or happy. So this living and working, producing, communicating always has something to do with other people or the world in general. Imagine this external world being completely shut out, because this is her home. This is where she's comfortable. This is her natural element. This mess and marshes, only socializing with its dry old librarian, not really speaking to each other. She only serves this old slug, seeing that she's supplied with everything that she needs, at least intellectually, spiritually, all knowledge and stuff, and this Fantastic Four magazines. And what a great relief, never being bothered by this emotional wildlife or this intuition creature, which is very random and unstructured in itself, very much dependent on her logic. But shutting them out and having this just receding, meditating, ruminating in this underworld, sticking to the familiar, because that's the very purpose of this intuition, this new impulse, enlightening her, bringing in some novelty into this obscure mist. Imagination. And like I said, this passion that's provided by the emotional functions, extroverted, keeping her in touch, allowing her to be touched by those things happening up there, and cutting them out will be losing motivation, curiosity, imagination, and lust for invention. Just logic without a reason. And she will eventually become as if mummified in these old Fantastic Four magazines, in this, like I said, pyramid of pizza boxes. And this imagination, this intuition is, in her case, secondary, so it won't have any life of its own without getting these telepathic instructions. So it's pretty much becoming a vegetable, you might say. So this old librarian with a sense for law and order and traditional ways, traditions in general, and conventions, rules, and it might be very pleasant for this old slug to have someone keeping her in one piece, not just flowing out to all sides, because there is no other references. She can compare her thinking to anything, and she isn't fed, she's not updated with anything new. So it becomes completely limitless. And this old librarian with her pedantic sense for law and order, decency, Christian values, whatever, might be something, the only thing supplying her with any kind of structure in life. Structure, still no purpose, no passion, no glow, motivation. This is the introverted NTP loop, the thinking introverted, sensing introverted loop. Yeah, dead boring stuff, wouldn't you say? So let's hope she would stay out of this mode.